Greg Cosell, nice enough to hop on today. Cosell, what's up? How are you?
Brent, what's happening?
So the Titans sign, and let me take a step back. So when the Titans signed Jamal Adams, Don Davenport's immediate reaction was they still need to sign another safety to go next to Hooker.
Well, that wasn't just Don's reaction. I think everybody in the league knows that.
Yes. Well, okay.
Not everybody in this.
I mean, I told you that he's not really a starting safety in the league. I mean, he's not a starting safety in the league. Pretty much everybody knows that. He'll probably be more of a competition player than a defined role, although he certainly can play dime if that's what Denard Wilson wants to do when they get to those down and distance situations. But he's not good enough at this point to be a starting safety.
So we can't go into too much detail about it, but it has been interesting to see how they've utilized Jamal Adams in practice when he has been at practice in terms of packages and things like that. So tell us about Quandre Diggs. The last 4 years, he hasn't missed a game. And I'm curious how he fits. What does the tape show? 5'9", 197, 31 years old, 10 seasons in the league, 3-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, I like Quandre Diggs. He's been a good player in Seattle. He's predominantly been a post safety, but he also can play in split safety coverages for sure. He's a physical, competitive player, so you can even bring him down in the box if need be. In some ways, he's a multidimensional player. He's just played the majority of his snaps over the last 4 years as a post safety because that's the way Seattle played their defense. But he was actually a slot corner in college and then was early in his career with the Lions. So he can do a lot of different things. I've always thought he was a really solid, good football player. Not a star. He's not explosive. He's not sudden, but he's just a really smart, savvy, good football player. A starting caliber safety in the National Football League.
Yeah, slot corner his first 2 years in the NFL and then moved to safety because of injury to a player, but certainly stuck there. Played all 17 games last year, 95 tackles, 1 interception, 5 passes defensed. Last 4 seasons, though, 15 interceptions. So how does he fit next to Amani Hooker in terms of what you've seen on tape from him?
He's a rangier player than Hooker.
Okay.
On the back end, Hooker Hooker's a really savvy player as well, but he's not a great athlete for the position, so he's not truly a rangy player on the back end. He's better playing downhill. He's probably better in an ideal world playing closer to the line of scrimmage, whereas Diggs can certainly play the back end because he's done that. He's got more range than Hooker, so they probably fit together well. The thing that I don't know, and I'm not there yet, so I don't know what their defense is going to look like, how Denard Wilson and the secondary coach, what they're going to do on the back end, what their foundational coverage looks will be. I mean, every team plays multiple coverage looks, but every team also has foundational coverages that's what they are. So I don't know the answer to that, but there's no question that Diggs can do any of that, and he certainly can play post safety because he's done that at a higher level in the league.
Greg Cosell with us about Quandre Diggs. And while we've got you, just the additions this year, this offseason on defense, L'Jarius Sneed, Cheeto Awuzie at corner, Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs at safety, Kenneth Murray at linebacker, who people have been raving about the last few days, Sebastian Joseph Day, defensive tackle, who, while fans were out there, so I can say this, was blowing up the run game. Tavondre Sweat has been exceptionally active. Denard Wilson, obviously the defense coordinator, and Cedric Gray at linebacker. Tons of additions on defense. Yeah,
and I think they're pretty much all positive right now. Look, to me, the keys are the corners, because that's the way the NFL game has evolved, in that it's such a quick passing game now. That's the way teams sort of build their passing games. You need to be able to have corners that are physical, that can press. Sneed may be as good a press corner as there is in the league. Awuzie, and you've been around him, he's a big dude. Yeah. He can play press. So to me, those are critical pieces. You mentioned a player that probably was overlooked a lot in the free agency market, but Joseph Day is a really good player. He's just not a pass rusher. Everybody, when they think of D linemen, think, oh, how many sacks? But every team needs that interior D lineman that can just buck up and play the run game, and he can do that, and he's been good at it in his career. Murray is a key as well because he's an elite athletic talent. He just hasn't played to that level through his career, but change of scenery, change of staff, if they can get him to play at his physical traits, he can be a very good player.
Why has he not played to that level? Like, where does he struggle on the tape coming into this?
That's a hard question for me to answer, Dawn, because I'm not there every day. You know, I wasn't there, obviously, with the Chargers. My guess is, and this would be a guess more than a no for sure, and the film tells you a little, but, you know, you'd have to be there. My guess is his what we call key and diagnose is not at the level that you ultimately want for a stacked linebacker, that he doesn't see it as quickly as you need to. We talk about that with quarterbacks all the time, but, you know, for stacked linebackers, that's a major issue. The ability to recognize things, see it. You know, the great linebackers, and I'm not comparing him to the, you know, a Luke Kuechly type. Luke Kuechly is an all-timer. But guys like that, they almost know what's happening just by formation, just how people line up, just by the initial move. You know, I remember Matt Millen telling me, he used to come in and watch tape here all the time, and he used to say that offensive linemen, they're too big to fool anybody. You know, so you just watch what they do with their first move, and you know exactly what's going on. And, you know, I think Murray has probably struggled a little bit in that area.
Is that a trait that you've seen get better in players the longer they're in the league, or is that something that you feel like is just, I don't know, innate in them?
I would say that different coaches would answer that differently, because some coaches would just say, well, he doesn't have the instincts. Instincts is one of those catch words that gets thrown around a lot when athletic players don't play great. And it's a valid word at times. I think you can probably improve it to some degree. Is he ever going to be, you know, Luke Kuechly or Zach Thomas? Probably never, no. But can he get better? And yes, and I think, you know, then it all comes down as well to what scheme you put in and what you ask him to do. You know, so again, those are things I don't know yet, you know, and hopefully I'll find out a little more about that when I'm there. But I think that's, you know, those are things you can help players with.
Good stuff.
Greg Cosell with us from NFL Films. When are you coming in town, Greg?
Next Tuesday.
Tuesday.
What is today? Monday? I'm so lost on this. I was just had a great time. I was actually in North Carolina at their football program because a really good friend of mine is on the staff there, and he invited me down. So that was a lot of fun.
Tar Heels College?
Tar Heels, yeah.
Look at that.
By the way, Quandre Diggs, when he signed with Texas, signed with Mac Brown. Full circle.
Oh,
that's right. You know, I didn't realize Mac Brown was at Texas for 16 years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Felt like longer.
You want to know
He's
something
the best,
else
isn't he?
that's circular? Quandre Diggs played in the Senior Bowl. You know who his coach was in the Senior Bowl? Ken Wisenhunt.
Oh.
Oh, my God.
Circular. Thank you, Cosell. Appreciate you hopping on.
Hey, no problem at all, guys. Thanks.
All right, we'll talk with you Thursday.
All right.
615-737-1045. You want in at 3HL1045. What do you think about Quandre Diggs and the Titans agreeing to a 1 year, almost up to $5 million deal? Diggs played with the Seahawks last season, 31 years old, 10-year vet. This will be year 11 for him, 5 with the Lions, 5 with the Seahawks, has played every game the last 4 seasons. I think people get confused. Like 2020, he played 16 games. They went to 17 in 2021. So that's where you get that math. 15 interceptions the last 4 seasons. I think, based on what Cosell said, fits in well with Amani Hooker.
Yeah, I believe so. And I think what you get in both of those guys that are aggressive, not shying away from contact type guys, too.
I think it enables Amani Hooker to get more up the field and in the box as well, which I think is a strength.
Absolutely. So you got him. Like, it's going to be interesting, man.
Think about all the new defenders.
Yeah.
I mean, L'Jarius Sneed, Cheeto Awuzie, Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs. You already had Amani Hooker. Kenneth Moore at linebacker. Tavondre Sweat. Cedric Gray also at linebacker. Sebastian Joseph Day.
Yeah.
It's funny that he circled back to him.
He mentioned that because I feel like nobody's talking about him.
Yeah, they should be. I don't think nobody's had the opportunity to see him like we have either, though.
Also, he's not a pass rusher per se. Like, he's not going to throw like 10 sacks at you.
Right.
But you need
and
a
maybe
guy.
Maybe that's part of it. So he's not going to be like a camp.
Flash.
Oh, wow, look at him in camp.
This is what This is what you see when you see Sebastian Joseph Day out there. You can't move him. And so you combine that with T. Sweat, who you can't move either, but he's also trying to get up the field, and then Jeffrey Simmons, we know what he is.
Yeah.
Jael, who's coming off the field so Adams can play? They've got options, and they've got packages. We can't go into a lot of detail. Maybe they'll throw some of that out there at preseason. I doubt it, but there will be the opportunity for them to, if they go straight Ravens system, then the Ravens play 3 safeties a lot. Mm-hmm. But then that means Roger McCreary comes off the field or you're going dime. But I think that's where Jamal Adams comes in with dime packages, get up the field. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, man, what you want to do also is at least have enough where you have every dog that gets an opportunity to go out there and play wants to bite. And with competitive guys like that sitting on the sideline, it's almost keeping them on a chain. And is it my goal? Is it my goal? Is it my goal yet? And you let them off the hook, and they go out there. And you got the other one sitting there waiting there, getting his energy back up. This is a great problem to have.
That's a hell of a comparison.
That's what it's like. You look at Diggs. Diggs likes to hit too.
Right.
Even though he's a ball hog, he likes to hit too. Amani just talked about him. Jamal Adams, we know he is I don't know what you call him, a predator around the line or something, man. But that dude he's always ready to get back there. And then if you had the opportunity, was Kenneth Murray? Did he play in that Nissan? I'm not sure if he played in Nissan because I didn't go.
That Saturday scrimmage. I don't know.
But if you did see him, what we've been able to see, this is a different guy, man, when playing Unleashed. And that's the thing, man. These guys look like they're playing Unleashed. It's all uphill attack. So I think character-wise, personnel-wise, you getting some guys, man. You are getting some guys. Another guy, too, that I think that can't be left out, that's not getting talked about a little bit, is your guy, Babs, and Marlon Davidson.
Yeah.
I think, like, when you see guys huddled up, like little clicks start to form, and it's a click that you ain't going to never miss. Joseph Aday, Sweat, Simmons.
Joseph Day.
I mean, Joseph Day. You wanted
to say Joseph Aday one time, remember? And I said, exactly he's from Sharpstown in Houston, which is where I live.
Yeah, Joseph Day.
He's also old.
Yeah.
And a running back.
Right.
That
Very
too.
true. But those three, Marlon Davidson and Arden Key, always together. Always. Mm-hmm. So, birds of a feather.
Flock together.
You better know.
By the way, did I miss it?
Said, who's wearing the green dot? Who cares?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, they say he's establishing a green light, not a green dot.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you who
talk
it's
about
not
that
going to
no
be. Cedric Gray.
Mm-hmm.
There was all the talk after he got drafted.
Yeah.
I read Jim Wyatt's Sunday practice report said that Cedric Gray has started to show himself a little bit.
Okay.
Really?
Because he really struggled with the transition the
yes.
first week and a half of camp.
Like, we've been out there, and I haven't even noticed him.
Well, that's because he's running with the threes.
Because we all hold the roster, and when somebody makes a play, you look at the – because, look, man, last season happens, I move on. Like, I'm going to move on guy. And so, like, I got to readjust with all the numbers.
There's a bunch of different numbers this year, too.
I'm stupid that way, but
I'm with you.
So I always have to look at the roster when somebody makes a play, at least right now. And, I haven't seen him. You're right. 615-737-1045 at 3HL 1045. How much better defensively do you think they can be with this group?
What were they, second to last year?
Can they be? Mm-hmm. We talked about this last offseason. If they could be mid-level defense, they'll be pushing the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with this.
Don't you think?
Yeah, no, hell yeah. Just with what
you
they're
still worry about the depth.
Offensively.
This signing's huge, but you still worry about the depth.
That's it.
Especially kind of the middle meat of that defense.
Because I thought if they were going to be healthy last year, they had an opportunity to get in the top 20 and not be on the back end of the league. But this one right here, this inching more closer to 10 to me. If all these guys are healthy.
10 wins.
10-7.
That ain't bad, Babs.
I'm kind of feeling 10-7.
Ain't bad.
Oh, here comes the optimism.
Here we go. I'm feeling 10-7, Babs. Where are you?
Oh, I'm not going there yet. I'm going to wait till after the preseason.
You were pretty optimistic though, like a month ago.
Can I say this? No, I'm not going to say
whatever you want.
I'm not going to say it.
Why?
Because
Listen, Babs, we got 3 hours. Say things.
You want to get out there on that limb?
No.
Oh, hell.
I'm kind of concerned at the quarterback position.
Oh,
What?
Come on, Babsy.
What are you
I have
concerned
seen-
about? What are you concerned about?
Levis.
But why?
Some of his, I know it's practice, some of his interceptions, his streaky, I know.
You don't want him to fill it out now, though?
I would rather him fill it out now. And yes, the defense is going to be ahead because they know exactly what the offense is doing, all of these things. But it still worries me. It still worries me a little bit. Some of the, there's been, and you can admit this, both of you have been out there. There have been some throws that you're like, what in the hell?
Right, but I've seen some
Or how do you
throws.
Are
miss
you doing?
But I've seen some throws from him that he's never made before either.
Very true.
And so, his lower half is noticeably quiet. So I feel like
I
he's
agree with
delivering the
that.
ball really well.
But it still worries me. You guys know, coming into this camp, I'm like, Will Levis is the man. It's his team. I saw what he did his junior year at Kentucky with a similar offensive scheme with Liam Cohen as his OC. I saw it in person. I think this is just the perfect transition he needs. They've put weapons around him. Haven't fixed the offensive line, but they've at least made it better.
Right.
And so coming in, I'm like, I'm all in. And now, after some time at camp, I'm not in. I'm just a little worried.
All right, here is.
You think I'm crazy?
A little bit.
Okay.
Here is what Jim Wyatt wrote about Will Levis's Sunday performance.
Okay.
You ready? Mm-hmm. After a slow start, quarterback Will Levis heated up and finished strong. This is what happened the other day, too.
This happens every day.
Levis completed just 2 of his first 6 passes in team and 7-on-7 periods, in part because defenders made good plays. But Levis completed 6 of 8 to finish practice. He ended the day 8 of 14 on the 7-on-7 and team periods combined. I now have Levis at 83 for 119 with 3 interceptions and 7-on-7 team periods combined in camp. Mm-hmm. That's what he wrote.
70%. I'm just a little more reserved than I was coming into the season.
My only question with him is the connection on the deep ball that he seemed to be able to hit last year.
He hit Traylon Burks on one right in front of us.
He sure
Yes, he did. Different
Hit
receivers.
Ridley once, too. That was beautiful.
And then I've seen 3 overthrows of Ridley when he got his man burnt, too. So that's my only concern. That's my only one. Him
is
being
it
able
with
to catch
Ridley
up with the
just
time.
taking time with the connection? Because Ridley's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he's
because
gonna be
Levis
open.
sat in this studio and talked about how
He was different.
he
You're right.
has to throw the ball differently when he has a guy like Calvin Ridley because he's so fast.
Yeah.
Can I read you the next paragraph?
Of
Jim Wyatt's piece on Sunday's practice.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you want to get into Will Levis and what you think about him moving forward into year 2, 615-737-1045, here's what the next paragraph reads. A few years ago, receiver Kyle Phillips created a lot of buzz for himself in training camp as he excelled in workouts and joint practices. As a rookie, Phillips was a media darling, a 5th-round pick who was shifty and new. Well, Phillips seems like a forgotten man now, perhaps because of all the newcomers at his position. Phillips is still plugging away, and he's quietly been having a really good camp. He said he had his best day on Sunday. Head coach Brian Callahan gave him a shout-out on Sunday following a session where he caught 4 passes, including 2 touchdowns, through 7 open practices in camp. My unofficial tally shows Phillips with 14 catches and 7-on-7 team periods combined. By my count, only 2 other Titans have more. So I immediately texted Jim Wyatt, and I said, who are the other 2? And he said, in due time. I'm like, tease. Such a tease. But
I actually did notice Kyle Phillips a couple times because I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that guy.
keep remembering. Yep, more
Forgot
Titans
he's
talk
there.
when we come back. 615-737-1045. They were 18th statistically on defense last
18th?
year.
Oh,
so
right.
if they could get to 10,
they can get to 10 now.
they're a playoff team.
If healthy.
615-737-1045.